All right, y'all. We got a good one coming up in just a little bit. Conversation with Comrade, got a special guest and everything. But first, we're going to get into our little intro and we're going to do the thing something like this.
Got conversations about life, got conversations about death, got conversations about building a nation, about gaining knowledge of self. Not here to deceive ya, we'll make you a believer. Come build a nation with conversation, with prophecy and Atiba. Conversations between comrades.
And that's right. Welcome to another episode of Conversations Between Comrades. I'm your host, Brother Prophecy, and I know, you know what I'm saying, this conversation with comrades. And I know my comrade Atiba ain't with me right now, but you know what? I got some firepower with me. I'm not alone. Not today. I got the one, the only, the infamous Brother Bomani Shakur. How you doing, brother?
Free to learn, brother. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm well. I by any means necessary. I'm great, man. I'm happy to finally get the opportunity to have you on the show with me, man. You know, for everybody who don't know, this is the Minister of Information of the Republic of New Africa. He is an author, and he tell people, you know, some of the things you do, because you do a whole lot of stuff. I don't even want to mess it up.
Well, okay. First, I'll let Brother Prophet said, the National Minister of Information for the Provision of Public Africa, co-host of the PGR Radio. I remember the New African Nation Day Planning Committee within the Provision of Public Africa. New African Nation Day will take place March 31st to April the 2nd in Charlotte, South Carolina. In my local college around local New African population district known as Dr. John Clarktown, misnomer Columbia, Georgia. I remember the People Party for Independence, where like our foundation is known as Deep Sea Defense, Educate, Economic Policy, and Culture. We aim to own, control, and operate the community we exist in. We know land base a nation building, no land base of independence. My position there is the Ministry of Information. I'm also a member of Georgia University, where my position is Vice Chancellor. I'm an active spokesperson for Georgia University, and I'm also we're going to turn the host of the Georgia University Radio that has been existing in 2014. I'm also a member of Eman Jamil Action Network, Eman Jamil former H. Rat Brown, locally here, and I'm also a member of the Black Organized Committee. And I'm also a member of the Rebuild Collective Distribution Collective, where we talk about the distribution of the newspaper, the article, and things of that nature. Those are a couple of things that I'm a part of.
Man, that's what's up, man. So basically, you do some of everything. You a part of everything. Like, man, you a part of the Lakers. But that's what's up, man. I mean, your brother. How long you been in the struggle, brother?
Well, you know, I first became conscious. We want to say in 1998. I became conscious. At that time, I became what you call term a 5% at that time, Nation of God's Earth.
Peace, God. What today's mathematics? I'm just playing. I ain't finna start that.
Hold up now. Well, hold up now. Today's mathematics will be wisdom, B, boy, knowledge, cipher. Knowledge, financial, all things existing, man. Not the black man hold the sun, because just the sun that found the solar system. Black man found the family universe. Not even no legs when you follow the edge of the opposite level, you trick knowledge. That's peace. You know, that's today's mathematics, you know, but I actually became conscious of Provisional Republic of Africa, New African Independent Movement in 2001. When I first started reading the works from our GJU co-founder, Abdul Lugubashki, I first started reading his work in 2001. Then I got my hands on a book called Up There Here for New African Prison Struggle by Elder Sundata Akoli. And that inspired me to learn more about New African Independent Movement. And I basically declared my citizenship in 2002, but it wasn't until later on that I actually had an opportunity to take the oath by an officer. You know, so I actually been doing the work. I've been doing the work for over a decade, for a couple of decades now, some change, right? In regard to educating our people, the mind and mass of our people, in regard to what we stand for, and also fighting the propagation war. I'm a New African propagandist, and every opportunity I get, I got to propagate against what the oppressor says and put out the information so the people had a conscious decision to make a decision what they want to in regard to they want to receive the information, not receive the information. The information is still out there in general, you know. So it's just a little bit about the situation, right? So I basically, you know, studying, reading, studying everything I get my hands on, creating pamphlets and creating literature, creating information, writing, doing different things to propagate different things, as well as interviewing different people for years, you know what I'm saying, gathering information, have conversation with people, you know, they're doing the same thing we're doing right now.
That's what's up. That's what. Now, okay, you say you're a propagationist. What exactly is that? What does that do? What does that, what does that mean?
Well, the propagation is basically basically a way to utilize certain things as media we're using right now, art, music, poetry, video, you know what I'm saying, written publication, and other aspects of getting information, put information out there to actually represent your organization, collective, cadre, unit, or your particular ideology to get people aware of it. That's what propagation is, you know. So it comes in many forms. You know, now, a lot of people have a negative connotation to a propagation of being propaganda because which they're saying that the state does or the empire or the government do, right? But propagation and propaganda is a tool we utilize to educate the mind and mass of the people and also make them aware. There has been no struggle in existence or organization that hasn't had some a propagation unit or some a ministry information to propagate what they stand for. Those are tools, especially tools to get the minds of the dissatisfied, to get dissatisfied opportunity and show them to give them a chance to do something that they can do that's different than what they've been thinking in their mind, or give them a different solution by propagating certain things. You know, so it's necessary. We're in a propagation war. We always have been. We didn't control the media. We didn't control the TV. We don't control the music. We don't control what's going on. So every opportunity we get, we use strategy. We have to communicate with strategy, strategic communication to get things across, to get our point across, to get people to understand what we got going on, to get them realize our struggle in particular. So it's just a little bit about that situation, you know.
That's a really good point. I'm glad you said that because you absolutely right. A lot of people have a negative understanding of as far as a negative connotation when it comes to propaganda in general. And that's mainly, like you said, because we've been victimized by so much negative propaganda by the empire, the European power structure, the white power structure, and it has caused us to be viewed globally and even by ourselves in many cases in a negative light. But the reality is, that's when you think like that about propaganda, is because you're thinking from a place of powerlessness, not realizing that the same tools that they use against us, we can use it for us and against them. Because we have to understand that we are at war. And when you are going up against a powerful empire, one of the tactics that you want to use is guerrilla warfare. And in guerrilla warfare, you take the weapons of your enemy and you use it against them. You know what I'm saying? So propaganda, like you said, there ain't nothing to be afraid of, nothing to have a negative connotation. That's something we pick up and we use as a tool so we can bring about our ultimate liberation. Thanks for that point, comrade.
No doubt. I want to add on to that a little bit.
Yeah, what's up?
We mentioned that right when you talking about the guerrilla warfare, I was thinking about the spook that sat by the door. When you look at that movie, the brother went inside, he learned all the information, he got out, started propagating it. And one of the things he did, he went to a brother like, okay, Willie, it told him you be writing, you be drawing, you be doing something. Like, yeah, I want you to be minister information. So putting the brother right to work in regard to propagating what he stood for. Engaged that with guerrilla warfare. It just reminded me of that, which is a beautiful movie for people to analyze and critique and observe for, from that perspective.
Yeah, that's what we actually viewed that movie right here on Nava, you know what I'm saying, collectively with everybody. Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies, comrade. Definitely. But I will get into some of the things that's going on because we kind of got to address this because I'm down here in Ottaway Wells City, and as everybody should know by now, a big thing, the video of the murder of Tyre Nichols was just released last night, and it was terrible. Like you said earlier before we was on air, it reminds me a lot of Rodney King, but Rodney King actually survived, his encounter. But I mean, it was gruesome. I actually had the opportunity to go to the vigil that they had for the brother Thursday. That's why we didn't do Thursday, because I was down there with the family and other people, dealing with this situation. I'll probably be out, see what's going on with the family later on tonight. But a lot of people, talk about the fact that, well, they black cops who did this. And I got some more information about just the black cops, because reality actually is more than just those five black cops. The actual first person who ever tased them was a white dude. and we ain't heard nothing about him. You know what I'm saying? The first guy who tased him was a white guy, and we haven't heard anything. There was more people involved in that, so it looked like, you know, it's more propaganda going on within this situation than, you know, they ain't telling us everything. But it was these primary 5 black dudes who viciously beat this dude. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people talking about, man, you know, these black people, we killing each other, we killing each, why we gotta kill, and all this type of stuff, not understanding that we are part of a system, and we ain't just necessarily fighting against white individuals. This is a whole system, and as long as you within this system, then this is the type of thing that it produces. What are your thoughts about that when people say, you know, the fact that it was these black cops that killed this brother?
Well, a lot of things come to my mind in regards to that. You know, the first thing by you being you having propaganda kind of aspect that this is based on the domestic neo-colonials. These domestic neo-colonials were basically people on the term as being house niggas or people black faces with white skins, or people that new African people that promote the aspect of white supremacy. They continue the terror domination that they've been presenting, right? That's the first thing that come to my mind. And also, when I look at that, you know, that being that mentality that was talked about in the Will Lynch letter, the tournament of the division, turn them against each other. And also, we gotta look at that a lot of our brothers and sisters have been broken psychologically and broken mentally, so that they perpetually fall into a system that they feel like once they feel like they get power, they feel like they gotta abuse each other, abuse the people that they're part of. You know, then we understand that that the police are not there to protect them; they're there to protect the property aspect. So it was just simple police brutality what they've been engaged into, right? Just on their own particular need. And then from my understanding, they've been part of some kind of gang unit, right? You know, so evidently, so evidently they were looking for gang members. So I get it like, damn, we ain't find one tonight. So we just gonna beat the dude ass. We just gonna do it because that's what they do. That's what they do in general. You know, they do that all. They do it all over the nation, not just in Memphis. You know what I'm saying? Not just in LA and Chicago. They do it in other places. You know, they do it in Georgia, they do it in Alabama, they do it all over. The same exact thing with these so-called quote unquote gang units and security threat group units and, you know, the crime units things, and they do the same exact thing over and over again, right? You know, it just reminds and shows that irregardless of who faces in those spots, they're not to be trusted. You know, regardless of who they are. They be New African, they be Chinese, whatever. They were over for the same system. Then, like you said previously, that a European might initiate this. He laid back in the cut, hiding in hand, while the brother be sacrificed, victimized. But so now people look at like, okay, the brother did this, so now Jesse's gonna be served. But if you look at it, how it gonna be Jesse be served, but still on the same token, you still got the same system doing the same exact thing. You know, and I don't have heard about different things been occurring within the same police brutality mentality and situation been occurring for the last 5 or 6 months in Memphis. It's not the first time that has occurred. It's to the point that nowadays it's nationalized and people they get their attention. Now people are more concerned about it, but it's been going on in particular. You know, and you know that's why certain things like patrolling your own community, training people in your community. You know, so learn about self-defense, learn about learn not only just to take a life, learn how to protect, how to save a life, learn about emergency prayer, and learn about how to repair yourself, and stop blood clot. Things of the nature should be taking place within our community to protect ourselves. You know, that's just a little bit on my thoughts on it, the situation, right? But it messed up all around the board, man.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, and that's one thing I like about you. You know what I'm saying? You didn't just talk about the problem; you actually provided some solutions. You know, like community control, basically, community policing, putting our security in our own hands and doing for self, and really just having an example of what independent actually look like, to the point where we don't necessarily want their help because they don't necessarily bring our help. I mean, police don't really stop crime in our community; they respond to crime, you know. And then, because like one of the things that been going on in Memphis, everybody's really worried that we about to act a fool and tear Memphis down, which that's a whole nother, you know. But one thing that I've noticed about the protests and things that go on in Memphis, generally protests in Memphis are peaceful. They only get violent when the police show up. Police really escalate things to the point of violence, and they really perpetrators of violence. You know what I'm saying? Now, unless you talk about Frazier, because like when they killed their brother in Frazier, but the U.S. Marshal, you know, Frazier, different, you know, animal. They're different beef. They've been so brutalized by them that, you know, once you attack them, they attack back quickly. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all remember, but, you know, a brother in Frazier was murdered by the police, and they basically was fighting the police, fighting reporters. Reporters were trying to interview, and they was like, lady, we in Frazier. You need to get up out of here. Like, for real. But for the most part, in Memphis, the protests are pretty much peaceful, but the police really agitate things and push things to a whole, you know, another level. And, you know, I guess the whole point that I'm trying to make is I'm agreeing with you 1,000% on the need to really do for self and to take control of our community and take control of the resources and institutions. And part of the institutions is the police. You know what I'm saying? Would you agree with something like that?
Yeah. It's necessary to patrol and control your own community. It's necessary, you know, to have your own collective of brothers, unit of brothers to go around at night and different times of the day, patrol the community to make sure the community clean, safe, organized. That's necessary, you know, to keep crime away, and also necessary to develop like block committees and planning committees in the community. You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature as well, so people can understand exactly what's going on, or why y'all willing to do this, what the purpose, the reason, just so people get educated. And that's where that propaganda coming in again. To educate the people in the community so they know exactly why this is taking place, and also to get people to be willing to do certain things in the community who live in the community. You know, and every community should have that, be a self-sustaining unit, because, you know, we need to keep these different people out of the community who gonna come in and commit crime. Because what we realize is that reality that the biggest bid in the world, the prison does slave complex with the prison system, a multi-billion corporation that various billionaires as well as millionaires invest into because it's legal. About 13 members is illegal. So you know it's gonna exist because it's legal. So people can invest in it and get their money out of it. You know, that's never gonna happen. So the aspect that majority of the time they don't try to advent a crime. They want crime to happen so they can get paid. The more crime get paid, the more it get paid. You know, that's just the way the system operates. We've been conditioned and programmed to think the other, but it really what it is. You know, we see it every day, and it's been going on. We just gotta learn how to defend ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Not just physically, but psychologically. You know what I'm saying? Legally, economically, we gotta defend ourselves from these situations so it won't be occurring. You know, not saying they won't occur, but we gotta be able to defend ourselves on all levels.
Definitely. Well, I want to kind of go to the audience real quick, because, you know, like I said, we got the most politically aware, intelligent audience in the land. I see Melly Queen. She doing her thing, sharing the show, letting everybody know what's going on. She said, "Free the land, comrades and family. How is everyone doing?" We're doing great, Melly Queen. Thank you for doing what you do.
Strong,
man, I hate that your show didn't come on last night. Her show didn't come on last night. I was looking forward to it. But you know, check out Melly Queen's show every Fridays at 5 o'clock. She got a blog talk show. Also, Joe Gonzalez, how you doing, brother Joe? Greetings, revolutionary comrades. Free the land to you, brother Joe Gonzalez. I know things about to get kicked off when Joe Gonzalez kick in. Uhuru Sasa, free the land, family. Free the land to you, Uhuru. Definitely. Let me see who else in here. Suzanne Rogers, good afternoon. Free the land to you, Suzanne. Good to see you checking in.
No doubt.
What else we got? Let me see. Margaret Lewis said, "What's up, Double K?" That's somebody from my school. That's like the first rap name I used to go by back in the 80s. So your brother went way back. What's up, Margaret? Gank. See you calling everybody nicknames out. How you doing, Mr. Gank?
Okay.
But yeah, my name used to be Double K. It was Cool K with a K. So now y'all know something. But any oh, okay. You said nice program you have here, Double K. Thank you. Man, love calling me Double K. But anyway, man, like I said, I'm here with our great comrade, our great brother, Bomani. It's a pleasure, an honor having you. George Jackson Radio. George Jackson University Radio. Let me be clear, man. You got some of the most dynamic.
We call it George Jackson Radio as well, right? We call it
Yeah.
also, right? So you good.
Okay, all right. Well, you have some of the most dynamic guests on your show. And matter of fact, let's get this out the way. When and how can people check out your show? Because if you ain't checked out this brother's show, you're missing out. I'm just telling you. You listen to this brother's show, I guarantee you're gonna be a whole lot smarter. But when and how can we listen to your show?
Well, our show usually broadcast every Wednesday night from 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It usually broadcast, but sometimes we have special shows on different days.
Okay.
You can find out more about our show on Blog Talk, you know what I'm saying? Blog Talk Radio / George Jackson Radio. But you also can see our broadcast be talked about on our page with our Jordan University page on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. So you can follow us, right? You can follow our broadcast. We've been existing since 2014. Then all our shows are recorded, so you can all go back and listen to them as well. But the show's a live broadcast, so they're a call-in show. You can call in, ask questions, make statements, join the dialogue. Now our goal is to educate people, so they can find the liberation that they need in order to better their condition and better their pride and build a nation. You know what I'm saying? That's our purpose, triumphing that whole mentality. When triumphing that mentality, not just the criminal mentality, not just the criminal mentality, not just the criminal mentality, but one change that nigger mentality, and slave mentality as well within our system, within the system of the people you're dealing with. Because you're trying to build a system that geared toward the liberation, independence of our people, a system that's self-determining through the aspect of Kuchakalia. That's what we intend to do, to make things better for us, so we control our own food root system, control our own grocery store, control our own hospitals, control our own library, control our own media, everything that look like us, in general. We can be independent, but codependent in regards to like dealing with other new Africans and Africans as well to build our nation. We just can't do it alone. We just can't be out on an island nowhere. We got to build all the new Africans around us and all the Africans as well. Because we came from those people. That's why we call us our new Africans.
Dig that. Oh, some of the guests that you've had on your show, not just that, but you run the official PGRNA or radio broadcast also. Who are some of your favorite guests that you've interviewed?
Well, man, I would say all of my favorites, but it kind of hard to say in a question like it kind of hard to say because I just don't gauge it like being a favorite person, a favorite guest. I just like it's all about putting the information out there, right? I had a lot of favorites, but Jordan University Radio, we don't interview a lot of people that have returned to the essence, right? Like Mama Keely Nyasa, one of the founders of Freedom Archives. She also was an early communication associate of Comrade George while he behind enemy line, and she been chronicling history for years before her demise. Brother like Big Earn, who there with Comrade George, W. Nolan, other individuals during the heydays, returned to essence. Mata Musa, who the one of our chairman of the Black Organizing Committee, who did 40 plus years behind enemy line. There were a lot of early comrades, so a lot of our shows have been memorial in the sense of like we reaching out different people. And then another show like our interview the San Quentin Six. I remember David D.I. Johnson and Willis Sundar to take two elders of the San Quentin Six, and I also had Suji Brown on there. So during the show, Elder Kamasi Aguila called and known as General Kamasi, that would Comrade George Well. He also be found in the documentary Blood Crip Made in America. He won the Schlosser. He was Bunch Carter. So he called me. He was telling me when he called me the same time he called me, they had just assassinated Hugo Yogo Pineo, right? So all the San Quentin Six, all the Comrades. So I relayed the message, opened them the line up. We had the communication, right? And it was very emotional. It was very emotional. It was a very emotional situation, right? That had always been something in my mind that I always remember. Okay, it was emotional, it was heartfelt by people that struggle together during those days, and that has to be on the street and brother still behind enemy line, he got assassinated. So things like that, things like that are very significant to me. But they're one of the ones the most significant. But I think one of my favorite ones might have been like I got a couple of them. Know what I'm saying? Couple of rock, have I do, Luka Shakur, Mama Fia Magaza, Dr. Kamal Cambone. I got there's a couple of them. There's a couple by what time of time, yeah, there's a couple of them, you know. There's a couple I can name on top of my head, but I just can't say I just got one favorite, you know. But there's a couple of them, you know. And then all the PGR radio show being informative as well, you know, being informative to me as well. You know, even though the PGR radio show had been existing that long, we still making traction in regard to the propagation standpoint. And I'm also getting information out there, especially when it comes to the African independent movement, you know, which is a different type of circle. You know, where Georgia University, we deal with all different type of people, different walks of life, the African independent movement, the prison movement, street organization, community activists, so forth and so on. Where the Afro radio focus upon the whole activity of the African independent movement and people that have been doing work now in the African independent movement. Not necessarily people that are often in the Republic of Africa, but people that constitute African citizens in general. So it's a propagation tool that we utilize to make people aware of what's going on in the prison government, make people aware of going on in the African nation in general. So the propagation tool, they go hand in hand to me. You know what I'm saying? Because both parts serve dual purposes. They go hand in hand, sharing some of the same information, especially when it comes to the African independent movement. So, you know, all of my favorite, actually, all of my favorite, every last one of them.
That's what's up. Just remind everybody, you live with Conversation Between Comrades. I have a special guest, Mr. Bomani Shakur, the one and only. And everybody out there, I'm glad everybody's checking in. If you out there and you haven't checked in, and drop a line, just drop a line. Let us know what you know, who you are, so we can converse with you. And you know, hit that like button. And make sure you following us and spread the word. If it's anybody that you know of who would benefit from these type of conversations, just drop a line, drop their name in the comment section, so they'll get a notification and they can join in on the conversation. But back to George Jackson University. How did y'all come up with the name George Jackson University? Or why did you decide to use this particular Comrade is the name of your station? Why is he, you know, so significant, you know, in your opinion?
Well, you know, George is an example of a strong new African manhood. He's an example of resistance. He's an example of an organizer. He's an example of a person that uses his surroundings to benefit him. He's an example of a real guerrilla. He's just an example of that, right? He showed courage. You know what I'm saying? He showed charisma. He showed learning. He showed education. He showed a lot of different things that pursue it in regard to not just that. He looked at all his comrades as being their family. He looked at all his comrades being his brothers. He looked at all his comrades being people that were close knit to him. So he defended them. He taught them how to defend themselves. He taught each other education. And very other platforms of ideas and concepts that were for survival. You know, he was in prison in California when it was all about survival. Even though it's all about survival now, at that time, the race and white supremacy attacks were strong, right? The brother had to come together to defend themselves, right? They had to come to defend themselves, protect themselves, and make sure all the other brothers would protect as well. So he initiated that idea, that concept of that. He pushed it to a stronger level, you know, especially when he became known as a political prisoner. He pushed it to a stronger level. But in regard to the name itself, the founders, Adu Luka Shakur, Abasi Ghana, you had Dr. Rashid Ali, you had Dr. Oh damn, man, I'm slipping, man. Dr. Donna Evans, and other individuals, right? They came, especially Dr. Donna Evans, Baba Adu, they established a relationship with each other. They were communicating back and forth. So originally, you know what I'm saying, that they had a different name, you know, but the name wasn't accepted at that time. So that they knew George Jackson was a common name, and a lot of the brothers had been persecuted and put in the shoe for having George Jackson books, for having books with George Jackson, having pictures with George Jackson, for having letters with titles, and having this conversation about George Jackson. So they locked them brothers down. So that was an ideology they were following already in general. That's what they were following. You know, there was an ideology they were following, they were pursuing, they were pushing forward, right? They were persecuted for their name. So where other better way was were to show the masses that George Edison, then negative, we can do something positive with it. It's a positive thing. And all been a positive thing. It just did the state view him as negative because he resisted. So, the name Georgia University became synonymous with him in regard to ways of action and activities. So all the brothers and sisters that have been involved over the years had to conduct themselves the same exact way Comrade George was, as a nation being an organizer, right? So that's basically how the name came about, that they made the decision, like, we're going to call it Georgia University and push it forward, and we're going to we already know that our prison cells are not just prison cells. They're schools, they're universities, they're opportunities. A lot of times you hear the term in university, that's the prison system, right? So that's a place where you can learn to educate yourself, better yourself. We have very people example there, like Bunchy Carter, Marshall Coda, St. Eugene Secure, Eldridge Cleaver, Malcolm X. A lot of these brothers, know what I'm saying, they're educating themselves in prison, especially Malcolm X, Conrad George, and Eldridge Cleaver. Those brothers came from the criminal and the street and the gang mentality, but they transferred themselves through education means and became better asset to these people. And they all wrote things, they all organized things, they all joined organizations. They all made a historic impact upon us now that we still talk about, and we still refer to right now to this day.
Man, definitely. That was a segue into like the next question that I had for you, because you're very active and very intentional about making sure we never forget our political prisoners and shining the spotlight on their situation and trying to galvanize support to try to get our political prisoners out. Why is that so important that we don't forget our political prisoners?
Well, one the main reason we shouldn't forget them, because that they still part of the struggle too as well. They're just in a different location. They're still part of the struggle, right? If we say we are about our comrades, we should be about our comrades no matter where they're at. If they're in exile, if they're in prison, if they're on the run, we should be about our comrades in general, And then a lot of these comrades that are political prisoners, they're doing more work and more organized and more planned than a lot of brothers and sisters on the streets, right? So what better way to support them and advocate them and show love to them than by just pushing that they be released and making people aware of their particular case, make people aware of their situation, make people aware of the work they're doing, and make people know what I'm saying, let people know they can communicate with these brothers and sisters. They can receive mentorship, they can receive information from them, they don't wrote very things. So they're very important. And then by being part of the new African independent movement, we know that our Cash New African citizens belong to our nation. They don't belong behind enemy line. They belong to our nation. And one part of our reparation claim is to free all our Cash New African citizens, be they new African political prisoners, new African POWs, and so forth and so on, to free all of them. Because reparation not just obtaining money, it's obtaining land, obtaining resources, and also the freedom of our people, so we can help so they can come out and build our nation. So that's a part of our reparation claim, new African independent movement in general. The freedom of all our Cash New African citizens, be they new African political prisoners, be they new African POWs. So it's always important. And think about it. If some of your family member locked up, when you want your family member free, your family member locked up. If your brother, sister, your mama, someone locked, when you want them out, especially they being persecuted for their political beliefs, just because they believe politically in something different than what the Americanism is, it's all to make sense. It's all to right.
Yep. I always thought, when you look at the context in which many of our political prisoners were in prison, especially when you're doing the 60s and the 70s, during that time period, there was a program going on called the Counterintelligence Program, the COINTELPRO. We know it well, way too well. And that is actually responsible for many, if not most, if not all, of our political prisoners behind bars. But the United States government admitted that this program was illegal. So when you look at, our brothers who are behind the prison camp, the prison walls, they were put there, under the umbrella, fighting against a system in a program that was admittedly illegal. That right there should be grounds for terms of getting them out, in my opinion, my estimation, alone. But I mean, you absolutely right when it comes to our political prisoners, and we have to make sure that we always acknowledge them, and we always fight to get them out, and we support them. And because like we go to the prison and we talk to the prisons like every so often doing Kwanzaa, and we going back in February for a Black History program. And like I tell them that behind the wall you have some of the most brilliant, the most intelligent, the most revolutionary strong brothers in our community. And it's weird. Well, I guess it's not weird, but it kind of speaks to how this society is, and how indoctrinated and how programmed we are, and how bad this American miseducation system is, that many of our brothers and sisters got to go to prison just to get educated, just to learn about themselves, just to change their mentality, because the school systems are programming us in a way that is detrimental to us. And that's like one of the main reasons we got to have control of our own schools. But I want to ask you about something, because you're, along with everything else you do, you're also a poet and a author too, and you are about to release a book. Tell us about your book, Comrade.
Well, my book is titled "The Manifesto African Psychotherapy." And the book, I written the book on the basis of that. I've been studying and researching and being involved in everything over the years and over the decades, and I kind of realized one thing that that we don't talk enough about. That was our own particular mind. We talk about freeing the land, we talk about self-defense, we talk about food, we talk about clothes, we talk about shelter, we talk about all the different things, right? But where's the aspect that we not in our right mind? The majority of the time we're looking at certain things, we still had that slave mentality, we still had that nigga mentality, we still had that criminal mentality in our mind, because we don't know exactly who we are. Or we still lacking that aspect of self-identity or self-awareness or self-realization, which should have been things we learned, we should have been stages we went through before we came to join these certain revolutionary politicals and radical struggles or organization or collective cognitive units of formations, right? So I felt it was important to put it out there, just by listening to what Dr. Francis Wells say, Amy Wilson, Dr. Kamal Campbell, Kobe Campbell, these different individuals that have been pushing in line in regard to pushing psychology as an African liberation school. Though African psychology base here is a liberation school. It's a school to liberate us, not just our mind and body, but liberate us, from the aspect of economic oppression, food deprivation, mass incarceration, other things and so forth. It can be utilized for everything, right? And always realistically, like, we have our own keys to our own liberation through our own state of mind. If we go through that re-Africanization process, not just the aspect of just changing your name to African name, but go through that process, actually change your mind state to African mind state, and think communal, and think revolutionary, and think independent, think that realize that we're people of nature. By people of nature, that means we are associated and connected to some kind of land there. But people associated with your freedom. And just think like that, like, okay, we need this, we need to do that, we need to do that. Just actually do it. So I felt it was necessary to put it out there. So I put the information out there. So the book is basically a reminder to tell people that, we've been forced to believe in a certain system, social sciences that, like psychotherapy, psychoanalysis, and logotherapy, and neo-Freudian, and the other ideas that are created by Europeans, right? But realistically, how can a European even understand or even relate to anybody African or new African origination when they haven't experienced things we experience, such as the human chattel slavery, mass incarceration, poverty? They haven't experienced the Atlantic slave trade, the sub-Saharan slave trade. They haven't experienced none of this stuff in their mind. They haven't been victimized due to the pigmentation of our own skin. They haven't experienced this, right? So how can you even relate to or tell anything about our mind or how we think in particular? Only thing they can do, is condition and program us to accept the form of psychology, a form of social science, a form of therapy that doesn't belong to us, but are their own creation. So it doesn't even relate to our actuality, right? So we do need to deal with things that relate to us. We know Dr. Francis Wells was considered to be controversial. Dr. Kamal Cabal was considered controversial. The brother actually did a lecture. He said he spoke about, he said the white race is incurable disease, and the only way to cure that, you got to be destroyed upon this earth. That's what the brother said during the speech. You know, when at the Ivy League school, so they try to take the brother license, they try to kick the brother out of school and other things, right? Ban a lot of the brother books and everything like that. But that's the way the brother think. But soon the people people like Margaret Sanger or other individuals talk about, you know, the aspect of saying that the best way to hate a nigga to kill him for they being born. We don't look at that statement as being critical, or that statement being reading things. Like even the aspect of how the Ku Klux Klan still exists today. They've been terrorizing folks in the 1800s. You know, the hanging us, killing us, murdering us. We don't consider those things, like even looking at being a terrorist organization. But we label everything revolutionary and radical as a terror organization, a security threat group. But these white men been doing these things in the 1800s, right there in Memphis, right there in Tennessee, started right there, terrorizing folks, right? The Civil War started terrorizing. When they were already doing it before then, So my book is basically it bases some keys to get people to understand yourself. You know, to look at conditions from a mental aspect, to look within yourself and find solutions. If we talk about miseducation, create a homeschool, create an Albert Center school, create a learning center, community center. You know, if we talk about food deprivation, create a community garden, create a personal garden, learn about agriculture, drain farm. We talk about mass incarceration, learn about law. You know, learn about legal aspects. We talk about police brutality, learn self-defense, learn physical training. You know, those are solutions that we can look at our own mind and figure that stuff out. Even so true, very examples around us, all been around us, it's just a way of being therapeutic within ourselves, right? From our own standpoint. We all need psychotherapy. Psychotherapy just talk right now, what we have now, it's like the therapeutic because we talk. Psychotherapy is conversation. They have a conversation with people, be able to talk to them, share your thoughts, your ideas, and come with solutions through your thoughts and ideas and talk things out, to be able to express yourself. Especially on a clinical basis, one-on-one basis. So we need to utilize that from an African perspective so we can realize who we are, not from the perspective of a European. So that's why the small book is necessary. It's only a tool. It's only a tool to get you to think for yourself. It's only a tool to get you to realize you can solve your own problems by being an African, a new African. You can solve your own problems through your own state of mind. Even so tap into it.
I know one thing, I always say that one of the most self-destructive things you can have is an African person with a European mindset. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who think like their oppressor. Thinks like individuals who benefit from their oppression. That's excellent. So when do you think the book is gonna drop, and how can we get it?
Well, I'm gonna be starting like some pre-orders. I'm gonna be selling the book myself. It's not gonna be on Amazon. Not gonna be nothing. I really been looking and researching things. Like I don't want to do all that, right? So the book gonna be sold directly by me. And I plan on dropping the book in March. Probably around the equinox. Probably around that time. It symbolizes a new beginning. Probably around that time. This time we're looking at the drop around the equinox, right? But I'm gonna start taking pre-order probably next couple of weeks, so I can get everything together in regard to how I want it, But so that base how it going on. So you had to contact me directly, to get the pre-order and learn how you can order and things of that nature. The book was just gonna be $11.99, but the base is $12, right? It's $12. It's gonna be a small book, but very informative. Very informative. Just the first of many ones, and that I'm gonna put out there. A lot of books I already wrote already. I just haven't went through the process of doing certain things that are necessary at the time. I feel like this is my opening. This is my entrance. So things are only gonna get better. Throughout time.
I hear you. And for those of us who still celebrate the Christian holidays, the equinox, that's just Easter. for Christian brothers and sisters who still, well, anyway, so dropping around the equinox. But speaking of your book and dealing with the mind and understanding the condition that our African brothers and sisters are in today, with the mindset that is basically, from the perspective of a Eurocentric white power structure that creates self-destructive tendencies within our people, the current situation that we find ourselves in is in desperate need of repair because we have been damaged when living under this system of white supremacy, colonialism, imperialism. And the root word of reparations, because you mentioned reparations earlier, is repair. The conversation about reparation is, it's getting out there more. It still ain't where it needs to be, nowhere close to be where it needs to be, but people are at least starting to have the conversation. And there have been states that have been, talking about, okay, what can we do? And a lot within the mainstream, they're basically talking about getting a check, giving a check to people, how much money. And it's always been my position, as well as our position, that just a check will not do, because that's not going to repair the harm that has been done from us being under this system of oppression for centuries and centuries and centuries. I mean, we have been damaged. Not only do we lack the very control over our communities, the resources in our communities, the institutions in our communities, the things that control our lives and govern our lives. But as you said, we lack control over our own minds because we have in this European mindset. And you can tell that by listening to some of the music that is produced for us and is promoted for us. I mean, it's like we're the only people that actively promotes our own genocide. I mean, it's like some of the music that is created for us is like a soundtrack for Black genocide. You know what I'm saying? So if you could just speak about like reparation and what's actually needed for reparation. I mean, do you believe we just need, a couple of $1,000 for every Black person would be good? What is your thoughts on what's actually needed as far as reparations?
I understand that they had the special PR number 15 that was put out there by General Sherman in Savannah, right? Mm-hmm. And that would turn 2 acres on a mural come from, right? He wanted to give everybody 2 acres on a mural. Okay, he wanted to give people land, but they came back and rescinded it and took that aspect back and took it back after he gave it. They came and take it back. I probably say about 6, 7 months after he put out, take it back. But when we look at things, we mentioned that people getting checks, right? We understand that we live in a capitalistic system, right? Mm-hmm. So we know we need capital to exist. So by we knowing the capital need capital to exist, the aspect of waving checks over people's head is just like a child in a candy store. Like you got to see all the candy, but they can't buy. They ain't got no money to buy the candy. That is basically like a manipulation trick, right? You want to say a Jedi mind, whatever you want to call it. That's a liberation trick. They know that they start talking about giving money away. And then the people were okay. They just want some money. That's all they want. They ain't make no claim about no land. They ain't make no claim about no territory. They ain't make no claim about freeing no political prisoner or freeing any people. They ain't make no claim about that. We can give them a little check. We get checks all the time. We can give them a little check, get them out the way. But we started talking about other aspects in regards to land and territory and being independent and being outside of the system and want to free brothers and sisters that they're behind enemy lines and by freeing people behind the line, they take away their money because they get money for every prisoner. They take away money. They don't want no kind of way to have any money taken away. They don't want that. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing, what I'm saying, they can give a little money to manipulate it because they feel like once they get a little money, we gonna go more than debt by the money they're giving them because we're gonna try to be just like them, be like the Joneses. I want to look better than the white man. I want to look better than the white one. I want to look better than the people who are rich. I want to look better than them. So we're gonna take that same money that we're receiving. If we receive it, if it did go down, we're gonna take that same money and be even worse than we were before we even had that money. That's just a situation. That's just how it look because the captive mind state that we were talking about. The colonial mind state, that slave mentality. That capitalist mentality. But represented it necessary. All the other people are victims of mass incarceration, victim of the Holocaust, or what we would call it. We going through the mafia that we've been going through. Everybody else don't see reparations. You know what I'm saying? From the Jews and the Native American, they give Native American all kind of reservations. Native American reservation all over the place. But another thing about that as well, Then you had them two other Indians come on the scene. You know what I'm saying? Knowing you know Native American, but you say you're a Native American just so you can manipulate the reference. You can manipulate what the Native American doing, man. Come on, man. You know, so you know, it's always tricks in this situation, man. You know, we're gonna get in the territory, but get what? We're gonna have these two other Indians out. Them two other Indians gonna slide in too to get there. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna in turn get more reparations and get more settlement than the Native American who recruit Native American, right? So there's different things going on, man, in regard to the situation, man. It's a very interesting conversation, man, in regard to reparation, man. But I would think that we just don't want the economic, we don't just want the money, we want that land. And we want the freedom of our people, you know. So what how we gonna do with money? What we gonna do with money, you know what I'm saying, by itself? We're gonna do land by itself. We get land and money, we can build on it. Cause we got all the blueprint, we got all the blueprint. You know, then we get our people out, our warriors and scholars and philosophers, you say, that behind enemy lines, we can actually build more with the people that large philosophers we already got on the street. We can build even more, you know. But like her process of repairing your mind, to be able to know that, they realize that we need reparation. You know, reparation needs to start within yourself as an individual. You need to start repairing your mind as much as possible. You know, repairing your mind, and they're like both of us had African names, so we went through that process. I started repairing our own mind by gaining an African name, right? You know, or reborn ourselves again, become a new Negro or a new Negro, like Mark Garvey said, which is basically a new African, a new Negro. You know, the new Negro, or the new man, which is a political term. New man, new woman is a political term. You know, they've been utilized by Black Liberation Army, Black Panther Party, so forth, so on throughout the years. New man, kind of new man. New man create that new society. To talk about new African, build a new African, new society through our own economic system, through our own political system. You know, build that new society through that new mind, through that new mind state. Even the term Nubian, breaking down from the analog, breaking down from perspective of a new being. You know what I'm saying? Nubian, you know.
Yes, sir. No, you when you talk about reparations, you brought up the fact like the Jewish people, you know, they gained like a whole country of Israel, and you know, other people have been given reparations. Basically, everybody been given reparations except us. One thing that I noticed that I did research, especially when a lot of our brothers were being attacked by Jewish people because of some things that they said. But I studied some stuff about what happened to Jewish people after, you know, the war was over, and how they punished the Nazis. But not only did they punish the Nazis, not only did, you know, eventually they gave the Jewish people the state of Israel and took it from people, you know, they already occupied their land. But in Germany, in Germany, they actually tore down all symbols of Nazism, all literature, all propaganda. They basically destroyed it. But not only that, they created movies and educational programs to re-educate the people, to teach them, you know, about the truth, about what happened to the Jewish people from their perspective, and really to completely re-indoctrinate the whole society so they can eradicate any hatred that they had for these people, and they can go on and put things on an even foot, or however, you know, they feel they need to do it. In America, when it comes to our people, basically, after chattel slavery ended, it just evolved into another form of slavery. And it just evolved, and it continues to evolve until today, you know, where it's just more sophisticated. And now they have laws that basically ban us from teaching our history in the public school system. You know, like in Florida, the governor just banned the AP African American Studies class. There's also a law that basically says that you can't teach anything that would be offensive to white people, that will make them feel bad, like literally. And that's just, you know, that's one thing I was thinking about in the prison system. That's like one of the only places there's, I guess, state function that you can actually go and learn your history. Anywhere else, it has to be some outside source like us, some independent source like us, because within the public school system, it's like our education is being banned. You know what I'm saying? And I guess that's one reason why it's extremely important for us to educate ourselves and not depend on our oppressor to educate us, because they're not going to give us the type of education that's going to lead to our liberation. It's going to only give us the type of education that is going to better exploit us or set us up for better exploitation. You got you got any thoughts on that?
Well, my first thought on this that in a lot of prison they still suppress brothers in prison. They still censor information, right? You can learn history, but a lot of time brothers get persecuted for having certain books that are revolutionary. They get persecuted for having certain books that are dealing with new Africans and certain forms of radical ideology. They get persecuted, they get put into shoe programs. They get put in they get put in control units. They get put in lockdown units just for having information, right? So that same persecution in regards to education toward new African nations still going on within the prison system itself, right? A lot of times brothers just find a way, then every prison itself, it go about different type of base in regards to education, in regards to the mail, in regards to legal mail. A lot of different prisons go by different ways, and just a different state go by different ways, right? But that whole aspect of like, we understand what kind of system that we involve. We understand the whole aspect of American academic system is not to teach us anything, but to indoctrinate us to come out of that system and be menials, to be human chattel slaves, to be consumers of everything that has a European title name on it, to be victims of the economic system. That's what the whole American academic system is designed for. Even when you look at the American data, they go back to the history of the Greek philosophers. It go back to people like the Englishman Thomas Aquinas. English started developing the whole system in regards to the American academic system that American academic people absorbed through from the English and American connection through the aspect of a relation between the British and English, but even before the Civil War. Even before the Revolutionary War, so that whole system had been put into the mind state already and documented. So they just came more and just develop it on this particular land mass, right? So by being aware of this, we know we had to educate ourselves on our history, on our story, constantly and daily. If you walk into a house, I understand people that we understand that people might have a image of white Jesus and white people in their house and everything. I understand that, right? But in all actuality, when you look at that realistically, right? We need somebody to look like us. Every person has somebody to look like us at a particular savior, right? So the Indians have Krishna and the Buddha. The Mexicans have Quetzalcoatl, and the people from Jamaica had they saved. Everybody had their own particular savior. People from Brazil, everybody had their own savior. But when it comes to new African people, we're looking at saviors of other people to save us. When we don't want to save ourselves. We have all the solution to our problems through our very own mind if we so choose to do so. We had all the examples around us throughout history. We had the greatest scholars, the greatest philosophers, the greatest revolutionary, the greatest Conrad, the greatest doctors, the greatest professors. We had the greatest everything, right? So it's on us to utilize these standpoints, utilize these individual resources to build something that's going to be self-sustaining, and also to repair our own mind and repair our own family, our own condition. So it's on us, in regard to the education process. Self-education, the best education, like Malcolm X said, a homemade education. He taught himself various things while he was incarcerated. He read the dictionary, he read this, he read all these various books, he educated himself, what he called a homemade education. And then he becomes self-realized through a process known as self-education, to have a knowledge of yourself, knowledge of who he is as a new African person. You know what I'm saying? His origin, where he came from, the origin of civilization, the origin of his mind state, how his mind function. You know what I'm saying? Why you're dark skin, why you light skin, the aspects of melanin, the aspects of carbon-based atoms, the aspects of your mental and physical achievement, your accomplishment, your negritude. He went through that process. And that's the process we all must go through if we want to better ourselves.
Yes,
at least have somebody in your family doing that can influence other people in your family. Everybody's not gonna be on that level. But to have people that in the family, in your organization collective that has that particular mind state, they can influence others. You never know when that spark of intelligence or that spark of resistance gonna pop off in an individual mind state. So we got to keep pushing. We got to keep pushing. We got to keep pushing, regardless.
Definitely,
That's my thought, you know.
No, you on point, comrade. Definitely on point. And like I say, man, anytime you find a people who worship in God in the image of their oppressor, that is definitely a person, people who have been conquered, in basic need of liberation. I want to go to the comments, man. Our comments blowing up, man. You got people thinking, bro, comrade. You got people thinking. Hulu Sasa, you've been very, very active. And I appreciate that, brother. He said, a living reflection of our struggle here in America. And he talking about George Jackson. He posted that comment when we was talking about, the relevance of George Jackson and why he's so important and what he stands for. Also, again, Uhuru Sasa, the brother really takes his time to reach out. I can personally vouch for that. I appreciate you, family. You talking about you, comrade?
Yes, sir.
That's
No
what's
doubt.
up.
No
So you're
doubt.
not
No
you're
doubt.
not with a
Appreciate it, bro.
brother who just talking it. You with a brother who living it, who doing it. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what else going on. So there is no justice on stolen land. Definitely.
So
Let me see what's going on. Uh Guru Sasa also said eugenics, and I guess he was talking about when you was referring to Margaret Sanger and the abortion, and how abortion is like the leading killer of black people, like this, they murdering us before we even conceived. And interesting thing, because like the whole them trying to get rid of the abortion laws, that's really for white population, because their population is at zero growth, and very soon in America there will be a minority within America, and that's petrifying to someone who has been gaining basically their power and their resources and their economics off of the exploitation of black and brown people all over the planet. To find that they're about to be a minority in a place that they have dominated and stolen and oppressed people, is frightening for them. So
part yourself. One thing I want to add to that, it's a documentary called My Alpha 21, right?
Okay.
It talks about all this, the eugenic aspects and Margaret Sanger, everything. It's called My Alpha 21. It talks about our Holocaust that it put us through, called My Alpha 21. Yeah, you can go ahead. I just want to say that.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. But if people don't know, Margaret Sanger, she was a Nazi, basically with Hitler camp, and they basically what Hitler was doing with the Jews is part of a program called eugenics. It's like a purification of the white race, the master race, and all that BS. But basically, in the United States, after the war, she came to the United States and worked for the United States and started the American Eugenics Society. And one of their main goals was to decrease the population of non-white people, to get rid of all the blacks and so-called non-white people in America, and other individuals. And they used to do things like forced sterilization back in the day, and it was real popular back in the day, but Hitler, kind of shined a negative spotlight on it, and they went underground, but they're still existing today. And she was the founder of something called Planned Parenthood, which is in every hood in America. It's one, right on Poplar down here in Memphis. People be protesting it all the time. And their number one goal is to basically to depopulate us, make sure that to maintain the purity of the white race. As you talked about, Neely Fuller and Francis Cress Wilson, they break that down, real good. But
hold up, in regard to Margaret Sanger, a lot of that philosophy that Margaret Sanger and Hitler had, a lot of that philosophy came from what we want to term as the theosophical side, by Madame Blavatsky in 1875. Madame Blavatsky paid the way for all of them, in regard to that aspect, as well as the German philosopher, I think is Friedrich Nietzsche. Friedrich Nietzsche came with a concept known as the Superman, the omnibus, which is a man above man, which is a superior white man, a Nordic man, a Nordic race. When we go back to the Nordic aspect of the Viking things of that nature, right? But the old individual paid the way. The Madame Blavatsky talked about the 7 spiritual races. and all the seven spiritual races were white races, right? He said at the top of the white race were the Aryan race, where historically the Aryan term mean that people of India that are highly self-realized through their spirituality, right? But she turned around to refer to European people. You know what I'm saying? She said it was seven white supremacy races on the planet Earth, that are superior to everybody on the planet Earth. So a lot of the standpoint of philosophy came from her, Madame Blavatsky. Yeah, I just want to say that the Theosophical side still existing. It's still existing too.
See, what y'all don't realize is this brother right here damn near know everything. Like literally, I mean, I'm saying that in a joking way, but I'm basically saying this brother is well versed, well knowledgeable. Because like when I had him on the show, things I was breaking up from my past and things like that, he was like, he already knew about him. We were like, oh yeah, this brother's something. I'm like, man, brother, you know everybody. You've been, you truly have earned your reputation, in which I'm gonna get into right now with a comment from brother Stephen Muhammad. He said, "Free the land." This brother is a great scholar and very well informed. He has done a great deal of work in the struggle. He has played a great part in my revolutionary consciousness. So that's what's up, man. You know what I'm saying? And y'all seeing why? You know what I'm saying? Y'all see what type of guests we got here. You know what I'm saying? I ain't at the level of all the guests that you had on your show yet, but I got a good start with you.
You're doing the work, Conrad. It's all about doing the work, man.
Yeah, man. That's all we trying to do doing the work. Joseph Gonzalez said, Comrade Prophecy, when time permits, check out Kwame Shakur. He also has a revolutionary book. Are you familiar with that, brother?
Yes, Kwame? I'm familiar with it, bro. I'm familiar with it, bro.
Okay, all right. See, I told you, know everybody.
Yeah. That brother, he's a part of the new African Black Panther Party. I think he's the minister of culture, the deputy chairman. But he also has his own organization as well. You know? Yeah, I think called the Black Liberation Circle. Yeah. He has he also wanted to they've been pushing the new Rainbow Coalition with the United Panther movement. With the United Panther movement and the other Liberian organizations, they've been pushing that,
Okay, that's okay. All right, I connect because I was talking about that with some comrades a while ago, not too long ago. So okay, I got you. Yeah. Let me see. Stephen Muhammad, there is no liberation and independence without land and self-government and nationhood.
True.
And Uhuru Hasasa just came back with facts, and I'm gonna say that again. Facts. Sure. Definitely. I think a lot of people, comrade, get confused when we're trying to struggle for liberation and freedom, true freedom. They get confused with having white people like you. White people treat you better. They think, white people like you, accept you as they equal. Then that's really what we're going for. I change the ideal so they won't hate us, And I always say, I don't really give a damn about who you like. If you like me, or if you hate me, or can't stand me, it don't matter. I ain't gotta like you, But if you have the power over my life to affect my life in a negative way and to push your negative views about me on me where it affects my life, then we have a problem. So my goal and my struggle should not necessarily be to change your mind or how you think about me, but to empower myself so you can't affect me, regardless of what you think about me. So therefore, we got to have control over the things that govern our lives. We have to have control over the land, the institution. We got to have some self-government because we have to be able to govern ourselves. We have to have nationhood. So I'm with that 100%. I'm sorry, I just went on a little rant.
No problem.
Yeah, I'm saying this. I'm agreeing with your brother Steve. So Bomani is teaching truth 100%.
No doubt.
Definitely. See, Uhuru Sasa, they are going to have a problem when you start developing the means to protect what we have built. You're absolutely right, and I think with any program, any liberation program that we have, any nation building program that we have to have within that program means to protect ourselves. So as you stated about all the survival programs, the self-defense program, the weapons training, offensive, defense program, or self-offense program, however we want to talk it, all of that has to be a part of what we do. And we got to be strategic about that because, one thing we learned from the Panthers, when you are too open with some of the self-defense things you do, then you kind of make yourself an easy target, you know. And I'll just say that, leave that on that.
Okay.
You know, let me see what we got.
It's also about the mind state as well. You know, if people in your organization have a different mind state than you have, or a different agenda, a different perspective, they're gonna be confused anyway. You know, everybody gonna be on the same accord. Everybody gotta have that same. Everybody go through that same orientation and indoctrination process. Everybody go through that same political education process. You know, and be that opportunity to articulate them. So everybody gotta be in the same circle with each other to be able to build. You know, you gotta know your comrade.
Yeah.
If you don't know your comrades, how you gonna build if you know your comrades?
Man.
How you ate with your comrades? How you screwed with your comrades? How you been in the field with your comrades? How you did anything with your comrades? You gotta be around your comrades to get a better understanding. Develop a better connection. You gotta be around your comrades. You know, that's what we building here in Dr. John Clark Town. We building that revolutionary culture. We building that revolutionary culture. We envision liberating all the zones, liberating all the areas and territories, and turn everything into a little new Africa, everything into a little Africa, as much as possible. Own and control and operate everything in the community. We have a community center right now. The community center is not something to be rented. It belongs to the organization. The community center, the community center belongs to the organization. The plot the community center is on belongs to the organization. You know, we have a community center where we've been funded. We open August the 14th, our grand opening. We open what we call PPI Week, which is the People Party for Independence. The PPI Week consists of our 5 principles: deep seal, defense, educate, policy, and culture. On every day we did something geared toward those principles. On the first day of defense, our minister defense did a emergency preparedness seminar. As well as our doula did a doula joined him and did an aspect dealing with emergency birth. You know, that was defense. That was the money. On that Tuesday we did education. Our minister of education did an aspect in regard talking about how you can get into school and college, university without going through the stupid loan, because she's a scholarship coach. You're talking about how you can get scholarship and get into university, right? And all other aspects, right?
Yeah.
And then we had another sister talking about African schools. Another sister was talking about how you utilize the American academic system to do certain things for the parents. That was the education aspect. Then that Wednesday we did cooperative economics, where we're talking about business ownership, you know, and how to get money to own business, things of that nature, cooperative economics. Then that Thursday, it was a political. And I did a presentation that was geared toward our aspect of Garvin, UNIA, Elijah Muhammad and Nation Islam, the Political Republic of Africa, showing how they all showed different forms of unity through their ideology, how it was cohesion, what they believed, what they stood for, and what they fought for, right? Where the chairman came behind me and talked about the same things as for unity, but he utilized a symbolic expression in regard to how the Wednesday letter, you know what I'm saying, practical and reality, even though it's a fictitious letter, but I have concrete substance behind in regard to the way we conduct ourselves and how we can avoid these situations, right? So then that Friday we had the culture aspect. You know, our minister of health, who has on yoga studio, he talked about yoga, trance, meditation, things of that nature. But also we had a comrade who's a nurse, so he talked about health and blood things. And we had another comrade talking about community gardens and being a vegan, food, sort of things of that nature, right? So that was the culture aspect. Followed that we had a block party. Then that Saturday, we had a new African family ball where everybody came together, ate, broke bread, you know, and commemorate themselves, you know, they had a good time, you know. Actually, the wedding took place that same day, right? So that's how we brought in our community center. But on the 13th, we went into the community art. We went out there, spread out propagation a little, let people know we were gonna have our grand open. And the grand open we had August the 14th, which we had people come in, ask a question, we told them about a party, like freshman things of that nature. So that was our debut with the community center in the community, right? We've been doing that, you know, but the organization been existing since we just had our anniversary of organization, which is January 26, 2015. So we've been existing that long as this organization in particular, but we've been doing the work before then, though. We just been existing at this organization in particular, right? Going to community doing emergency preparedness seminar, history program called Unsung Hero. Like next weekend, we had a program to gear to a building new African family. You know what I'm saying? We gonna have an event at our community center February the 4th, you know, from 3 to 6. But we also gonna stream it so people can be able to see it on Facebook and our social media page, People Out of Independent. People can see what we're talking about, you know, get the education out there. So, you know, we got to make more records of what we got going on so people can see exactly what's going on, look at different various examples, and, you know, so find solutions to their own problems. And every community is different. Every environment is different. But by being social scientists, It's our purpose and goal and agenda and objective to be to solve the social ills of our people. If it be poverty, it be miseducation, mass incarceration, it be drug, be gangs, whatever it may be. It's on us to solve those problems because we live in the community, not the oppression. They don't live in us. You know, it's our purpose to create solutions and problems to the problems and ills. You know, to be them solutionaries, to be those revolutionary mind, to be those frontline soldiers out there. You know, doing the work. You know, many people think that you just got to be trained in martial arts and guns and all do the work. People have different functions. You can do the work by propagating. You can do the work by creating literature. You can do the work by working the computer. You can do the work, you know what I'm saying, but by creating the garden. You can do the work by finding out where the food resource is, by finding who the new African farmers is. You do the work various ways. You do the work, you know, you do the work by sending pads and pencils and donating books to the organization or to the community or feeding the people. You do the work by various ways. You know, our programs must be utilized through an institution though. We can do all the programs in the world, but we got to have an institution. And then we got to be able to protect those institutions. So we can continue to protect the institution and be able to fund the institution. So we can continue to do those programs, do that work that we so often need, that we need more desperate now, especially right now at the time of economic depravity and food shortages and food deserts and mass incarceration. You know, we need these programs and institutions more than ever. You know, but the first place the institution development is in our mind. We got an institution way of developing. You know, it's like right now, GWU doesn't have no physical building right now. Our physical building was destroyed in Los Angeles when we had it. But we still had an institutional way of thinking that we building an institution in our mind by transferring our mind to a revolutionary mind state. By doing so, you know, we made better assets in our particular community. Your brothers and sisters in GWU all over the nation that are doing work. Even brothers that have been in GWU all over Sierra Leone and Africa and everything doing the work right now. You know what I'm saying? So we have people all over doing the work that's been in GWU, you know, doing the work in particular, right? It's a mind state that we have, mentality. You know, I year right now.
Oh, hey, that's what's up, man. That's inspiring, brother. Very inspiring. Man, I'm gonna have to come down to your to the center, bro. Like I'm looking forward. I'm like, okay, I gotta plan me a trip now.
No doubt.
Go kick it with you all.
Center is beautiful, man. It's beautiful, man.
Let me make sure I understood you. Did you say it had its grand opening in August, or it's gonna have a grand opening in August?
The grand August took place August the 14th last year.
Okay. Gotcha.
You actually can see all the videos on our Facebook page called People Up Independent. You see the videos, you see the different events we had during those days. From all the defense, you can see all the videos on our Facebook page. So you see exactly what we're talking about, you know, where we're presenting information, presenting, you know, things we were doing. So you also look on our page, some of the things we did, and we got the community picking up trash, the various economic session, lecture we had, the various history program we had, the various emergency pregnant we had, the handgun training. You see a lot of different things on that we had. Some in regards to certain programs we instituted throughout the years, right? In regards to our own work. You know, because we believe in keeping the community clean, safe, and organized. That's what we push. You know, we know land is based on independence, so we got to own the community in order to keep it to be able to keep it clean, so we got to be able to own it. That we control it. You know.
Yeah. Definitely. Go back to some of these comments. Hulu Sasa again. He said, "Our saviors were either murdered or criminalized through their propaganda machine." I get definitely where you're coming from.
Yes,
J. Edgar Hoover, under the counterintelligence programs, we all know, always feared that it was going to be a black messiah to come to our community and lead us against this government, overthrow the government. So his priority number one was to prevent the rise of a black messiah. That's why so many of our leaders were so viciously attacked. Definitely.
Destroy our saviors, which is our savior.
Yeah, we got to save ourselves, you know. That's one reason, you know, I never liked that sole leader of the black community, messiah, like, you know, concept that like, oh, we just got to have this one leader that everybody look up to. You know, in the organization, you got to be, you know, you got to have like 5 people who are able to do the same thing, to be able to have the same, you know, leadership skills. So when one go down, the next one just take his place and it keep on rolling, you know.
You know, realistic though, we think about that. Our leadership is ideology. Ideology leadership. Because you think
Damn.
about it, you think about it. The ideology live on. Think about all the people think about all the people in the New African Independent Movement that don't return to the essence, and the ideology is still there. The ideology is king and queen. The ideology is what's in leadership. The people, we are just representation of the ideology, and we articulate it and put it out to the people with the leadership is the ideology. So if your ideology is strong and you follow strong ideology, you're gonna be strong.
Hey, that's what's up right there. Yeah, I love that right there. I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna be saying that later on in the week and stuff. I'm gonna give you credit, but I can't. But no, but it's actually so true. Because as long as that ideology is strong, kind of like Chairman Fred said. It's like you can murder a revolutionary, but you can't murder the revolution. Let me see. We are accounted as 13% of the population, but lead the nation in abortion. Make that make sense. Sound like genocide.
Yeah, genocide.
Yeah,
for a whole nation of people. But because you feel that black messiah, you feel that leadership coming out, you feel everybody rising up and building their own. You feel that independence. That's a threat.
Yeah, definitely.
We can't let them think. We can't let them think about nothing. Can't let them think about nothing, right?
Man. Joe Gonzalez, like definitely on point. I really enjoy the Comrades teaching. And Joe Gonzalez, I'm enjoying his teaching also. So I'm with you on that.
I appreciate
his comrade is very sincere and committed. I agree with that also. Sade Ship, she said hi. Hey Sade, how you doing? Veronica Gonzalez, how you doing, Veronica? Good seeing you on the show. We definitely need to stop romanticizing the struggle and stop looking at people like pseudo gods. People will fail us, but the struggle will continue and the correct ideology. That's right. You know what I'm saying? As my comrade said, our leader is the ideology. The ideology will guide you in the right direction every time. Yeah, man. But we moving up on an hour and a half on this show. We're probably going to get ready and wrap it up. You've been listening to the conversation between comrades with your host, Brother Prophecy, and I got my comrade, Bomani Shakur. All right, hold on. Like you did me. What's your whole name and what's the meaning of it?
Well, Bomani is Malawian for brave warrior. It's also Swahili, Kiswahili for mighty warrior. It's also Egyptian, committed for warrior. Your hero is Swahili, Kiswahili for freedom, Jihad, Arab for struggle, and Shakir is Arab for to be thankful, be most gracious and appreciate God. So based on the mighty warrior, freedom and struggle who are thankful to God. That's who I am. The mighty warrior, freedom and struggle who are thankful to God. That's who I am.
That's what's up. That's what up. And you know what? When I get my computer back up, I'm gonna be able to do more things with the program. I'm kind of handicapped right now, cause my other computer is down. But let me ask you this, comrade. When I do get my computer up, which I'm hoping to do it this week, would it be any way possible to get your permission to like run some of your shows on Nava, like rebroadcast some of your shows on Nava? You know what I'm saying?
Well, rebroadcast some of GJU show.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be cool. That'd be cool, man. That'd be cool.
Hey, y'all heard it here, y'all. Coming soon. The doggone George Jackson University Radio. We're gonna be broadcasting some of the episodes on Nava. And that's what's up, man. You see, I'm happy now. You made my day, comrade. I'm good, man. I know I'm finna go out and hear some of what's been going on with our fallen brother, Brother Nichols, Tyre Nichols, and that's probably gonna piss me off. But we gotta be in the streets with the people to see what's going on. But yeah, you made my day, comrade. But before we get out of here, comrade, you got any parting words that you want to leave the people with?
Well, my only thought, man, is that we just gotta do the work, man. We gotta do the work irregardless of whom or where, man. And like Comrade George say, long live the gorilla, man. Free the land.
Definitely. Well, this is Conversations Between Comrades. My name is Brother Prophecy. You've been listening to Bomani Shakur. And I'll end it, like this. Like the brother said, man, we got to do the work. At the end of the day, we can talk about the problems, but you only talk about a problem. You only define a problem for the purpose of solving the problem. And you ain't going to solve the problem by just sitting on your butt, not doing nothing, looking at TV or whatever it is we doing. We solve the problem by, when we formulate that plan, we got to put that plan into action. And that means doing the work, as my comrade said. But join us again next week. Next week, we actually going to have Che Nueves on the show. So I'm looking forward to that. That's the brother with Attica, the Attica movement, who was part of that historic. Yes, rebellion. Yes. So we looking forward to that. But we'll see y'all again next week. And it's what always we leave y'all with our battle cry, and that is free the land, free the land, free the land.
And when you bring it in, you brought it in for the purpose of weakening the revolutionary tide of the people.
It must not be a capitalist system, but we don't want to exploit anybody. We don't want to be exploited, and we don't want to exploit anybody.
Ain't nobody going to do it for us. It's nobody outside of yourself. Nobody outside of ourselves that's going to do this work for us. We have to put in that real work.
Because the better you are at exploiting people, the more successful you are within capitalism.
We want to say salute to all our political prisoners, our POWs, our elder comrades in exile.
The satisfaction we need as a people only comes through liberation and independence.
Because we're not just building for self.